Weitrat here from the Black Chair. Today we are talking to Taylor Welch, who is also a YouTube. We have to start again.
We have to start again. I'm not a YouTube person.
I was going to say...
I have 35 subscribers.
Okay. A cut.
I have 4,000.
There you go.
Do you want me to re-record?
No,
No, we
leave
can just
it. It can just run.
just roll with it.
Yeah.
No, well,
That's the
I'm
first time.
actually a producer and editor for 20 years. I've
Okay.
only been on YouTube
Producer.
for a month.
And editor. Okay. Hi there, Weitrat here from the Black Chair. And today we are speaking to Taylor Welch, who is a producer and editor in his own business. Hi, Taylor.
Hey, Beltra.
How is it hanging? Is that what we say in the lingo of the young ones, which I do obviously not belong to, but I'm trying.
The young ones? Who are the young ones here?
Well, you.
I'm not the young one.
Said you could be my son.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 44.
Well, you could be my son.
You could? I could.
I wouldn't mind having you as a son.
Really?
Mm.
You'd be a good mum.
So you skipped over the how is it hanging?
Well, yeah, it's all right. Well, how's it hanging? No, well, I haven't. No one's asked me how's it hanging since the 90s.
See, I
There
haven't
you
got
go.
the lingo.
You just don't have the lingo for
I
the
haven't got the lingo.
21st century, do you?
This is what my children keep saying. So, but at least you didn't make a face.
No, I
Like
wouldn't
my-
sit there and go, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, my
No,
son,
no.
he would have gone,
It'd
Mom.
be an eye roll. Yeah.
It would be more than an eye roll.
What are you doing?
So,
So,
how are you?
I'm not
How are
bad.
you feeling? Because you know this is all about feeling here.
It is about feeling.
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
going to be
all
an
about-
interesting interview.
Yes, all about feeling, not thinking.
Yeah,
Even so, I say I think all the time.
but it's a different kind.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a different kind of thinking.
It's a different feelings and thinkings are two separate things. Thinkings.
So things. So how is that to you? Because you're very funny. I have.
So this
Yeah.
is going to be an interview that's
Yes.
totally different to all the other
Yeah.
ones.
You know what? The
I will be honest with you. Don't be wrong. But normally everything comes with a nice big ball of sarcasm rolled
Yeah.
around it.
And this is where I am a little bit hesitant. I was actually a little bit hesitant. Should I even ask you to come onto this show? Because I thought I'm going to trip up. So I am here. I'm
Yeah.
conquering my fear.
That's it.
And I am
Well,
going in there.
That's the only way to face your fears. It's the only way to get past something.
Yes.
Live it, then it won't be scary anymore.
But it is with the humor, the sarcasm, the joking. I find that very difficult. Not to, when people do it, to understand it, to follow it.
Yeah.
Because it's culturally, I think, and you are Australian born, right? Generation what?
God knows.
Many.
Many.
Okay. So you are a true blue Aussie.
No, I'm just your typical Aussie bloke.
And what is that?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing these days. With we talk about multiculturalism. What an Australian bloke was in 1985 is not what an Australian bloke is in 2020.
How would you define this today? How do you would
I
you?
don't know. Because I got a mate of mine who, he's all gruff and he talks like this and he drinks beer, and all I just see it is as a masculinity front these days, and you just think he's overcompensating. But I think it's not what it used to be like in regards to, she'll be right, mate, have a beer. And these days people are more open about feelings and so forth.
Because you have come through growing up. What was your family like, or your father? Have you come up with a father who did suit or fit that stereotype?
Oh, my dad?
Yep.
My dad was, well, there we go. There's going to be a whole big can of worms for you and your viewers.
Well, you don't have to open it.
Oh, no, we can open it. My sister
Because
will
this
kill
is
me.
a conversation. This is not. It's not as
Yeah.
we are
Well,
rolling with it.
My dad was not a touchy-feely bloke at all. I don't remember a lot of emotion in that house, if that makes sense. So I wasn't raised with a lot of that, which is probably why I'm as sarcastic. I learnt the barbs long before I learnt the feels. But in that case, you know, Dad was, well, he liked to drink, and he wasn't that. I remember the odd time we would do the odd thing together, but he wasn't around all the time.
And do you, when you say he liked to drink, there was sort of a little bit of a twinkle in your eye. Is this what you would subscribe to the Australian bloke of the time?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. There's still a drinking culture in Australia. There's no doubt about that. I don't think it is what it used to be. But yeah, no, he did like a drink, that's for sure.
And how did you end up being a producer and editing, and how did you get into filming effectively? You're more in the dark room with your many computers, I assume, than you are behind a camera? Or?
I started off in an edit suite. I did an apprenticeship many moons ago. It's scary to think I've been doing something for 2 decades.
And was that a calling? Did you?
Yeah, I was always meant to be in
How?
this line of work.
How did you know that?
I just felt it. I knew it.
How?
I loved films as a kid.
Yeah.
It was movies,
Yeah.
watching. But I wasn't just watching them, I was studying them. And then I did a few things out of school, never felt my place. And then when I got my apprenticeship, the words were, he's a fish to water. And so that was 20 years ago. And yeah, it just felt right. And so I started off as an editor, learned editing, which a lot of people said, this is a great place for you to start, because as an editor you learn what everything's needed to putting something together. So after editing I became a producer, and now I'm a cameraman as well, so I can go out and produce, direct, shoot, edit, and deliver. One-stop shop.
It's a many hats you wear. Can't not use a metaphor here.
I would say, I wondered how long it would take until the hats came into it.
Well, this is a big part of my past life, millinery and hats, which I also feel was very much a calling. Do you like my Japanese cups?
These are awesome.
Beautiful? Now they are so beautiful and handmade, and I have got myself one here too. See, and there's not one which is the same. They are all different.
We are all unique.
They are unique, and I love that about those.
They'd be good for cups of tea.
Well, I guess they are actually teacups. Matcha tea is usually made in those, but I enjoy them for water and for soup and for everything. Coming back to, so yes, the hats.
Yes.
You're wearing many hats in doing what you were doing, and
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Well, do you feel that way?
I think I'm better at some things than I am others, that's for sure.
And your strength would be?
Or editing.
Editing.
Yeah.
And the joy?
Well, see, I love filming. I do enjoy getting that shot, that one shot where you go, oh yeah, that's great. But also you get the same joy out of an edit, where everything just starts to come together and you go, now this is working, this is working.
Because I myself feel that with having done hat making for 30 years plus, having run several businesses, started them and finished them and sold them, and I had a pull to mental health all my life, which I guess resulted out of my own suffering, and then that desperate sort of longing for helping people and giving, pay forward what I have learned. And for me which then I ended up becoming a therapist as well on top of it. But how do I integrate that? That was the big difficult thing for me, how all of a sudden, which hat do I wear? Is it this or is it this? So I'm wondering with you, the editing hat is one hat and you're not wearing it at the same time when you go out.
But I am.
But you are.
Oh, but I am.
That makes you, okay, please talk about that.
Well,
how?
When I go out on a job, I shoot to edit. I know what I have in advance. So first things first, someone comes to me and says, we want to make this. I go, cool. Then in my head I go, how's it look? I'm already editing there, producing, and then by the time we get to filming, I'm filming what I want to put in the edit. So I'm actually a faster shooter because I'm filming to edit. Which then I get it straight back into the suite. It makes the whole thing much easier.
Yeah. That is so cool, because when you just said that you do, I feel like that as well, in having done this trade, knowing it so well, having done my 10,000 hours, which you have done plus, you know, in the editing, but they say $10,000 make a master. It's sort of, you never heard that?
Never heard that.
Yeah, okay.
I was
Well,
too busy locked in edit suites.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Well, you're hearing it here.
There we go.
First, it's 10,000 hours, and it's in order to be a master. So I definitely have done that when it comes to millinery, and I understand that that is a useful thing because it gives you practice. It's not so much, it's what you gain, the experience. And I feel that with the millinery, the 10,000 hours have given me the practice and the skill, not just in hat making and problem solving and putting out fires. It has brought me in contact with a lot of people, with a lot of stories, with a lot of hardship, as I am traveling in rural Australia, and I have flown extensively around the world teaching in countries. And that sort of has starting to make me, hopefully, this therapist who is as helpful in the therapy room one by one than I am helpful in a classroom in showing a group of people how to handle a material which is very stiff and rigid, but needs a little bit of water and a little bit of, you know,
It needs that fancy iron you've got down
the
there.
fancy iron,
Yeah.
or one of those, exactly, to iron out wrinkles or to support it to bend a bit more. And there's metaphors in all those materials as they are in the psyche or in our emotions and feelings and how we are moving through life. So yeah, I like that you would be, because of that, making the job so much easier for yourself. Now,
Oh, here we go.
here we go. Coming back to your sarcasm
Oh, yeah.
and the choking. Is this a...
Are you going to say, is it a defense mechanism? 'Cause that's what
Exactly.
everyone always goes to,
No.
sarcasm. It's like, oh, it's a
I'm
defense.
wondering about that.
Why?
Is it? Or do you use it for that?
Oh, I
Do
just do it because I try to keep things light. Trust me, I have a game face. When you see my game face, when you've probably
What's the
seen
game
my...
face?
Well, when I'm being
Show me the
serious.
game face.
Oh, I can't do it. But, you know, when I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone. But if...
When you say game, do you mean the gaming, sitting in front?
No. But, like, you know, when something's serious, when you are on a job and things are real, that's when all the joking goes away because I'm on point. But I'm a big believer in keeping things light when they can be.
Okay.
So
is the game face when you walk in the door and you had you're a bit pissed off about something, and then you're just gonna give me that face of something?
nah,
That's not a game
that's
face.
not the game face.
So the game face is the pretend one?
Oh, I can't do a pretend one because...
But is that, do you
But you know,
mean
but no, when I'm being serious, when I am concentrating on what I'm doing, when I'm being
when you're in the
serious,
zone?
when I'm in the zone,
Yep.
then yeah, that's when game face comes out. I don't think it's definitely something you can't think about. Well, I need to be in the zone right now. How many people can just put themselves in the zone like that? It just happens.
Yeah, but like when you're focusing and really enjoying something, and all your energy goes there, and the sort of rest, that's how I understand it. Like
Yeah.
the sports people, like Cassie Freeman, when she...
Yeah.
Do you know who Cassie Freeman is?
I've met Kathy Freeman.
Oh, have you
Yeah.
then?
What do you know? I filmed her once.
And I just tried to be sarcastic
Ah. Yeah, you're not good at it.
because no, I'm not.
No.
I know. I think I'm hilarious. I have got this Austrian humor, and I think I'm hilarious. But
You're hilarious
you
in so
don't
many
get
other
me.
ways.
People don't get my jokes.
No,
It's like I don't get the Australians.
no.
I do not get Australian humor. I've lived here now for 35 years. I don't get it.
No.
I don't get the what I would call the bullying.
Oh yeah, I always say Australians are casual bullies and racists.
Yeah.
You know, we
Okay,
definitely
well,
are.
I'm glad you're saying that, because
'cause-
you can say it. You're Australian. So many generations.
Yeah, but it's true.
And
I got in
and the
trouble
male.
recently for saying that you say that like I had a choice. And male. But no,
Well, there is a belief in some people that babies choose the parents, and they choose who they're going to be.
Really?
I'm just putting it out there, and it's not my belief, but
I
there
would
is
say
a belief. People hold that belief.
I don't remember going one
Having
way or
chosen.
the other. You know, I think I might be that. I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do believe that, you know, trans people and people sometimes are born in the wrong bodies and all that. That's absolutely real. But I don't know if it's a choice.
I have to take you up on the wrong body thing. I'm sorry, Taylor. I think they are born in the absolutely right body. They are born, period.
Yeah.
And they are who they are. And I feel this is like something like white privilege. There is something around that, which a paradigm which is so, we are so programmed to believe or think that there's a right and there's a wrong, then to go, it just is. This person is born, and this person happens to identify as, feel like, and whatever made that is sort of in a way beside the point. It just is. And I'm saying that because I had an experience lately, which is very close to me in my own family, how when you expect babies to be born, and everybody expects that babies are perfect. You know, we go to have our tests done, and we go to the checkups to be confirmed that everything is fine. We don't go there to find out something is not fine, where you might have to make a decision. Do I abort? What does this mean? Am I keeping? And the whole family, including me, goes into, oh my God, it's because, why? I'm programmed to think the world has to be perfect, with perfect people and in their perfect bodies, whatever that means. That I noticed that about me, you know, that this is, and that started me thinking on, what does this mean? It's like right, wrong, male, female, trans. See?
Like,
now I got you stopping, and I lost.
no,
the
it was
words.
the
you
look.
Always
It
have
was
got
the
something
look
to say.
the look you gave me with.
Now say
Now
something.
say something. Well, I can say, like, I've worked with a motivational speaker, and she was born a male, and we had many discussions while I was doing the work for her, and she told me outright. She said, I felt like I was born in the wrong body. I spent my entire life, didn't transition until their 50s, but spent those first 50 years feeling like they were in the wrong body.
And I am wondering how not really but I, as part of the human race, has contributed to her feeling that way, that she had to wait that long and suffer that long.
Oh, see, that's a generational thing.
Again, yes, but it's still happening now. We are making headways slowly.
I find the younger the person is, the more accepting they are of that. But the older generation especially, you know, they were raised a certain way.
And could they see themselves reflected anywhere? Could they see themselves reflected on the screen, in the movies, on television? You know, all the many movies which are out there. That's something for you. You might want to take that up, because you have also just started a YouTube channel.
Yes,
I believe.
Below the title.
Yes.
Yes.
And in that one, because you are such a movie nut, as you said before, you've always watched movies. So that's very, very fresh. I mean, it's literally weeks old.
Yeah, I think we're up to about week 6 now.
Yeah. And you are discussing movies you liked. And I am putting a challenge out there for you.
Oh, really?
Okay? And the challenge is, what kind of movies depict gender differences, trans, and how are they portrayed? Because what my experience is, they were portrayed as either nuts, mad, funny, you know, that we laugh about them, or violent.
When they were violent. Oh, actually, no. Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so again, what is being sort of fed to us over generations and generations, and I am certainly again this product of, which is sort of silently, it sits there, you don't even realize what you are watching. that is then so deeply ingrained how we view the other, because we othering them, you know, we are making them something different. We are making them in the wrong body, or and we ridicule them as they transition, or we stop them because, you know, there's so much fear, because they never see themselves on the screen as, I'm a human being, and I like what it's like to look like a woman and feel like a woman and transition as a male, or the other way around. And everything else, like gentle, you know, that comes
Boys
to
don't
mind.
cry.
Boys don't. Yeah, well, that's sort of a younger one, isn't it? Yeah.
That was in '99. It's getting on now. But that was.
But it was sort of for reasons, and I really don't think there's no. There might be slowly coming something onto the screen now, which.
Oh, it's different now. Like, it's definitely now. Although you get a lot of people these days who claim that culture's compensating for that. You know, like, there's always got to be one in everything, and I think that's silly. I mean, it's that bigoted older generation as well, which there are younger people.
Well,
like that
hence
too.
that needs the bigoted older generation like myself trying to raise something or start to think about and educate myself around. They're all new subjects to me, and exciting, actually.
Yeah.
I'm quite excited about learning about it.
But I find you're probably pretty unique in that way. I find a lot of people, the older they get, the more regimented they are in their beliefs, and the less they're willing to open to change and willing to think differently.
Well, what do you think that is about?
I think it's just people do that in general. You know, when you're younger, you're more open to the world, and you have different experiences and doing crazy things, and then as you get older, you know, you settle down, and that's the way it is.
Do you notice that in you?
I'm actually, well, there you go. I can say, like, well, quite recently I've been through some experiences where I was more open to things with the younger crowd, and a lot of my friends the same age were just horrified, absolutely horrified that I would do these things, because it was, why aren't you acting your age? Why aren't you doing this?
Because you were hanging out with young people?
Because I was hanging out with younger people.
And what do you call younger people?
Well, they were in their early 20s. And I had a lot of people in their mid-40s going, well, act your age. And I'm going, what is my age? Like, just because you come home every day and sit in front of the couch and stare at your phone until you go to bed and yell at the kids, that's your age, but that's not my age. I don't live like that.
So you're saying that one of the little things or big things we can do as we get older to keep ourselves surrounded or somehow involved also with younger people who bring a different perspective.
Absolutely. I learned a lot in the last 12 months just by doing that. It was quite eye-opening.
Yeah. That's very nice, and for me to hear, because I would second that totally. I feel so privileged and humbled often by conversations that I can have with younger people. Through my adult children, they bring people into our house still, even so with coronavirus that has sort of like
no more than 5 at the moment.
Yeah. And well, I can't really talk to, I don't actually feel I can talk to 5, you know, from the at the time. That to me is quite liberating, actually, in a way, that you have to keep it so low, because that means
you're choosy.
You're choosy, but also you have to really connect on a different level. I feel you can't just anymore put yourself, let's have a Barbie and we shoot the breeze, as you are saying. You know, you keep it light. So if you have a lot of people, you can keep it light very easy, but it's not so easy to keep it light when you are with 1 or 2.
And so you've got a couple.
Yeah.
And especially at times at the moment. I mean, how often do you have a group of people together and the conversation, of course, turns to the pandemic, or and it goes from light to dark very quick, which is why it's good to keep things light sometimes.
Going from light to dark, when you say, if you mean by that talking to people and then going to the corona, for example, that is light to dark, talking about
Well,
the
as
corona.
soon as you
Is that
start-
your experience at the
Yeah,
moment?
like at the moment, like it doesn't take much to start talking about corona. Then they talk about lockdown, and then all of a sudden they're talking about months of isolation, and you know they weren't fun times for anybody.
I don't. I would like not to skip over that now. Maybe we can spend a couple of minutes talking about what did the coronavirus lockdown and the way we are now here in Melbourne. We sort of seem to go backwards again because we have had more outbreaks, being a very small state, Victoria, and we are quite on top of each other. And when we say Victoria, we are really talking Melbourne.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not regional
Yeah.
Victoria at all.
Yeah,
It's
not regional.
It's all Melbourne.
Yes, so it's Melbourne. So, but what did that to you personally mean? Being a creative person who is stuck in the editing room anyway, but also goes out and makes a living from
Wow.
being behind the camera.
Well, I ended a relationship 6 weeks before lockdown began. So my world went from very big to medium to tiny,
To nothing.
and then
Tiny.
locked in a house for 3 months on end with nobody. I live alone, so I went from there was nobody around. You know.
So
it
how
was-
did you deal with that? What did that
I
do
had to
to
keep
you?
myself very busy. It wasn't easy. There were days where I'd go, I don't want to do any of this, and you know, I just knew I would always try and find something to do that day, and if I had it done by lunchtime, so be it. But I always made sure the next day there was something to do, and just
Yes,
keep it very quiet. And a lot
I-
of video calls.
Video calls.
Yeah.
And have you done that before?
No,
that
it was
added?
all of a sudden people were like, "Oh, we'll give you a video call. We'll give you a call," because it was obvious to a lot of people what the toll that it was taking. So that all of a sudden I'd get all these people calling in.
What's that like for you, working on screen so much and then talking to people because in a way, everybody talks to you on screen as
Yeah.
you're editing, and then you have people, your friends, talking to you on screen. Is that a difference? Is that
I was
weird
more just
or
sick of looking at computers and screens. I do that anyway.
Yeah.
I just, you know, eventually the point will come where I go, I'm just going to go read a book. I can't look at screens anymore.
yeah?
And I actually found that the video calls were good, but it would get to a point where even that wasn't doing much for me because it was someone in the room. I saw someone on Facebook posted a comment about how only a parent would understand the true struggles of what the lockdown was because they had to put up with their children. And I was like, well, at least you have someone to talk to. You know, I just sit here in silence at night.
I think this is such an important point, what you are raising up, because it is often we forget that our situation, we see the closest, the situation, and that is the worst. If you have got a broken arm, well, I tell you about my 2 broken arms. Your
Yeah.
broken arm is nothing.
I did my ankle as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I fell over.
Yeah.
And broke my glasses.
Oh,
So
I nearly swore.
you did.
I stopped myself.
Yes,
There we
you
go.
did. Well done.
Yeah,
You
I'm
get a
quite-
gold star.
Yeah, good.
I don't mind if you swear.
I don't want to swear on your channel. It's bad enough I do it on mine.
It's also part of the Australian psyche
Yeah.
anyways. As a matter of fact, it's that bad that I have taken...
I would say you've
I
dropped
say
a few
a lot.
bombs around me. That
I do say a lot, and they seem to me so normalized because it is not my second language. I do not feel it, the impact.
no.
I would, in German, there's no way I could even bring myself, my body can't bring herself to speak them. And it's weird. There's this in between where it doesn't matter, it's just another word for me,
Yeah.
which I have been very hurtful because of that to my partner quite often, because when I say the F word to him, that is very offensive. And to me, it's like a really good expression of,
Oh, it's a great
you know,
word.
you really
I
come
love it.
sort of like it comes with that.
It's probably my favourite word because you can
Energy.
use it in so many different
Yes,
ways. You
yes.
can be nasty, you
Yes,
can be nice.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes, but it's not very ladylike.
Oh,
my
no.
mother would say.
No, not at all.
Yes. So coming back to, I should have not lost that train now. What was it?
Well, okay.
We
you were
were
talking about how someone always has to one-up you.
Oh, that's right. And what?
I mean,
One up you?
well, you know, it's like, well, you broke your arm, well, I broke
yes,
two
that's
arms.
right.
That was where we
That's
were.
right. Thank you.
One of us is following the
I'm
train here.
very good. I'm pleased you're onto it.
Mm.
Now, what I meant
Is
by
the
that,
producer in me coming out again?
what I meant by that is the sense of that we think, because we are all in it. We are all in it together.
Mm.
You know, we're all going through the same thing, and we're all in the same boat. And I feel we are not. We are in the same soup. We are swimming in that same goo, and we all sort of bob away in our boats, trying to weather this storm.
Mm.
And I think when you're sitting there on your own, that can be a very lonely place for people. Lonely and scary. And what do you do with your anxiety? You know, if you have a cat or a dog or two cats and two dogs, that in itself is, as I guess, in a different way helpful.
I almost got a pet. I was this
Lots
close.
of people did.
Almost. I thought
Lots of
maybe you should
people.
get a pet. You know, that'll give you something to focus on,
Yeah.
and you know, but I didn't.
Yeah,
In the end,
which was
if we go back into lockdown, I'll be getting a pet.
well, which is probably also could be a very wise thing, because I do think what will happen to all those pets, you know, when people are totally allowed out again, and then they don't have that time for
Yeah,
that
there'll be a lot of
caring.
bend your pet. A lot of bonding with pets going on that are all going to have separation anxiety when people go back to work.
Well, that's one thing, but also neglect.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, you can't just take off on holiday or do your thing or not come home or stay out. You know, there's something else to look after at home, so that certainly would be an issue. So, coming back to creativity,
Okay.
did
Go.
you use in that time, feeling down, did you find a mojo or to actually do something creative? Did it help you? Or did you just feel hamstrung? Because that's how I felt at the beginning for quite a few weeks.
Well, at the beginning, it was a strange feeling at the beginning. You didn't know what was going to happen. You know, well, we were all about to end up like Italy. What was going to happen? But then all of a sudden, it was just all of a sudden things got quiet, really, really quiet. And I think everybody went off. You know, the streets were empty. And that's, you know, actually I remember I ended up doing that bubble bath photo, which I turned into a Rolling Stone cover, and I put it on Facebook. And you even said, as a comment on it, you have too much time on your hands. And I said, I'm keeping my creativity going, thank you very much. But that's what that was. That was me going, oh, I could do this. Well, I've got the time to do it. Might as well have a play.
Your YouTube channel, channel. This is a twist. Is that a result?
No, that was planned
or
long
did you
before.
already have that?
We already had it planned.
Yeah.
We'd been developing that for a little while. And life was getting in the way of it. And the big problem was also we had to deal with the fact that one, you can't do film reviews when there are no new releases, and two, we weren't allowed in each other's houses. So
I mean, you mean big cinema
Yeah,
releases?
as
Because
it
they
is,
had
there's-
releases on Netflix, no?
yeah, they had new releases
Yeah.
on Netflix, but I mean, we had all these plans. You know, we're going to go to the movies. We'll see this. We'll see it Thursday, shoot it Friday, and have it out by Saturday. Which we'll be able to do once they start that again. But it gave us a chance to just go back, do some retrospective stuff, have a bit of fun with it, which is what we've been doing.
And learn and in
Find
the
your groove.
process and find your groove. Yeah.
And then, you know, so when the movies do come back, I mean, cinemas are reopening, so
Apparently so.
apparently so.
With lots of room in between.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But we're probably going to do a video about what it's like to go to a cinema with 20 people in it.
Well, look, I have sat in many cinemas.
Oh,
where I
I've seen
was
some
one,
awful films in
two.
my time.
No, they were very good movies. Thank
Oh,
you
no.
very much. But maybe that speaks to my humor. Nobody
Yeah,
understands.
that's
I'm
it.
also interested in movie. Nobody is
Yeah,
interested.
you're unique, you are, aren't you? No, but
I'm
I just...
so precious.
You're a snowflake.
I'm so
Special
precious.
snow-
So special.
Yeah. There's
And
that sarcasm.
That's sarcasm.
There you
You
go.
got that?
You got
See,
that one.
I'm learning. Now, Taylor,
Yes.
can you remember? My little
Ah.
dog just arrived. Oh, I have to pick him up and show to the
It
audience.
must be time. It's feeding time.
It's feeding time. Oh, this is Mr. Pierre Bouton, my little dog. Anyway,
Yeah.
as we are very soon coming to an end because he's
It's
coming to say
it's time. It's time.
He only
Feed
comes
me.
when he only wants
Yeah,
me
he only
when
wants you for the food.
when he wants food.
Yeah.
Can
He
you
likes-
remember a time in your life which was a really dark time as a youngster? When is your first memory you can?
Pretty much my entire childhood is
Your
one long
entire
story
childhood.
of dark times.
And did you use creativity in that dark time?
Use imagination
Imagination.
to escape it.
And imagination just making up stuff
Yeah.
and thinking about things, stories.
Yeah.
So you didn't write or use.
No, I
use-
wanted to be a writer when I was really young, but I think as I got older and got into the medium of cinema, I thought
Okay.
much more about the pictures than I am
Okay.
the words.
And so the imagination that was, you populated your mind with characters which were helpful to you.
Mm.
What happened when you were a teenager? Did you have times like that? So you had
Oh,
the
yeah.
childhood, or did it go through childhood, teenager? Like
Yeah, it
You've-
never lit up.
it never lit up.
No.
And you carried on with imagination, or
Well,
did it,
by then I
what
had
did
video
it-
games and
did
other
it-
things to
uh-huh.
distract me, and
So then you went into distracting and numbing with video games.
yeah,
Did you do drugs, alcohol?
not until I was in my 20s.
So that was more part of numbing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And when did you find that you can actually ride the waves? Like it sounds like like from childhood, teenage onwards, you kind of were just in it.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah, there was no let up.
no let up.
But at that, over the years, it would lead to, I mean, at first there were no coping, as you say, numb it. It was much easier to smoke a joint than it was to, deal with what you're feeling. But over the years, eventually, I think you get stronger. As you get older, you become more self-aware, you become your own person. And it wasn't until, well and truly, I'd say, to 30 even, that you start to realize that. And it's amazing how now when there's these feelings of adversity, and I know those feelings are coming, I feel them. I just go, it's coming, write it out. You can bury it and it's not going to go anywhere. It's only going to get worse. Or you can feel it, acknowledge it, and move on from it. And that is how I process stuff.
So have you done therapy at all throughout your life? No.
None.
So you just suffer through it
I suffered through it.
on your own.
Yep.
That's a tough place to be.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
No. Because I feel when I go back to my village where I've grown up, the therapist, I feel, is often been the neighbors or the church, the place in front of the church. What's that called? The church.
Place in front of the church.
Yeah, where everybody gathers. You stand around before
car
you go
park.
inside. No,
I
it's not a
don't
car
know.
park. It's sort of like,
Oh, that atrium.
that's
or,
right.
Yeah,
You sort of stand around before you go in. Or
yeah, it's been many years since
yeah,
I've been near a church.
yeah, me too. Since
Yeah.
I've left Austria, many years ago. But anyway, I feel those places, or at the water fountain when people used to carry water and get water, there was a chatting going on, or talking, or saying something, and it seems like that used to be the natural therapist. We had someone else to talk to, or that this and this is happening in your house, and where now I feel this natural therapist has disappeared out of our life because we are so disconnected. And then to do this all by yourself, alone, this is a really tough place to be. I feel for you. But again, I can relate to it because, the stoic German in me,
Well, that's it.
is knows that very well. You can do this by yourself. Don't hang the dirty washing in front of
Bury it all down,
bury
and you'll
it
be
all
fine.
down. And now I am, those few people who watch this, you know, all over the world, are going, I'm gonna, here's all, what do you want to know? I'm quite happy to share, which is a very dangerous place to be too, because you open yourself up to criticism and to rejection.
Well, I think fear of rejection and criticism is what keeps you in that place as well. I think there's a point
Of not sharing.
And not breaking those bonds and just staying in your little safe place. And then eventually you just get to a point when you go, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't care what people think. And you live your life.
Yes, yes. And I think living a life, the life, like is your life, which is so unique to each one of us. And you sit in front of a screen watching so many lives which are highly produced and highly, in many ways, you know, they're edited and they're cut, and then the bloopers get taken out, that which is not the case here with us.
No, we haven't had any bloopers. We've been pretty good.
Well, we are not also, we're not even editing. You know, we are not cutting stuff out if things go wrong.
No,
like Mr. Pierre Boudon is turning up. He just becomes part of the show.
That's it.
But that is the hardest thing to do, because it would be so nice to edit our life and.
By removing something, you're not going to learn from it and grow from it, though.
No, we don't.
You know,
we don't.
You need to acknowledge it, and by doing that, you can learn from it or accept it, and then make your peace with it. But if you cut it out and go, that never happened, well, yeah, it's just going to stay there.
Yeah, and it's a matter of carrying on, practicing it, and doing it, and doing our life.
Pretty much.
Which is you know, is what the black chair is about, you know, creatives doing their lives. And we all, it doesn't matter if we're creatives or not creatives, each human is got a very unique life, and they have to do it the way they can. And by not looking inwards at all and exploring what is there in the darkness where all the light is, I wonder, you know, how well we do life. And the creative maybe has that ahead, that we have access to color and possibilities. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. You always hear about the unhappy clown, like some of the funniest people are the most...
Unhappy?
Clown,
yeah.
Look at Robin Williams. That man made the world laugh for years, but he killed himself. I mean, there's what you put out into the world, and then there's that in. And I think creatives definitely have probably more better access to their feeling. If you're not a creative person, you may not be in that mindset. Painters, you know, anywhere where you go with your gut, that's your feels. And creativity is absolutely going with your gut. You don't do something creatively and go, oh, I didn't. You know if it's crap because it doesn't feel right. And I think maybe that's part of it. But
and that is again unique to the person who is looking or feeling it. What you feel is crap. I might look at it and have a emotion and a reaction and go, wow,
it's amazing.
It's amazing. So
I know I've had that with my work. I've definitely shown things that I think are just terrible, and they've gone, that's amazing. And the first response is, really? Okay, if that's what you want.
Well, I don't know about the work, but I do know one thing. I think you are amazing. And I mean this. I think as a human being sitting opposite me, who is just as vulnerable and scared and deals with a life and emotions and ups and downs, the fact that you are here is amazing. And I think the fact that we have managed coming through the birth, you know, right from the beginning is amazing. We survived. This is one of the most dangerous, biggest, hardest thing to do, and we have survived, and that makes us amazing. And I like you to take that away, and I thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
See you next time.
Catch you then.
And that is it.